I know. I know. There was a lot. Oops.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to this Shabbat, ushering in our 25th Mitzvah Day weekend. So this is, of course, every Shabbat is special, but this one is incredibly special. And I'd like to invite everyone to take a few moments to greet each other before we officially greet Shabbat. So please get up out of your seats and say hello to each other. Wish each other a Shabbat Shalom.
Mitzvah, Goreret Mitzvah. Avira, Goreret Avira. Oh, oh, Mitzvah, Goreret Mitzvah. Goreret Mitzvah. Ya la 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 la. Lihiot Tzadik. Setov, Setov. Lihiot Tzadik. Setov.
Thank you all. Please take a moment and find your seats. The song Cantor Siegel was just singing comes from the Talmud, from the Pirkei Avot, and the phrase is mitzvah goreret mitzvah, which means one mitzvah leads to another mitzvah. And so we hope and pray that as we do mitzvot, that it will lead to doing more mitzvot, and that the reward for doing those mitzvot is actually in the mitzvah itself. So we're going to repeat that one more time, and if you want to follow along with the words, page 342, you'll find mitzvah goreret mitzvah.
Mitzvah, Goreret Mitzvah. Avira, Goreret Avira. Mitzvah, Goreret Mitzvah. Goreret Mitzvah. Ya la 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 la. Lihiot Tzadik. Setov, Setov. Lihiot Tzadik. Setov. Mitzvah, Goreret Mitzvah.
now we're going to turn in our prayer books to page 2 for the kindling of the Shabbat candles. And it's my pleasure and privilege to welcome our bat mitzvah, Chloe Zuckerman, and her family for the hold your applause. She hasn't done anything yet. For the kindling of the Shabbat candles. Come on up.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Amen. And now we turn to page 4 in our Sidurim for the introduction to the Kiddush.
No, hang on. And there was evening, and there was morning, and the sixth day. The heaven and earth were finished in all of their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had begun doing, and God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because God ceased from all work from creation God had been done.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon.
Shabbat kodecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
As they are enjoying the fruit of the vine, I want to introduce a theme for this Shabbat. When we read Shir Hamalot from the Psalms, we read Hayinu kecholmim. And the exact phrase is, when Adonai restores the captives of Zion, we were like dreamers. And dreamers is really the theme of this Shabbat, because first of all, on Shabbat, we dream of the world to come, of a perfect moment in time, when there are no needs that exist, when everybody is fulfilled, when the world is at peace. This is also the weekend when we work for that time, when we are all like dreamers in action, making the world we want to live in be the world that is. And finally, on this Shabbat, we celebrate the courage of a dreamer, Elias Rosenfeld, who dreams of a path to citizenship in our country. And so we are in for a beautiful Shabbat service, and I invite you all to dream big of that world of health, hope, and peace. And as we do, let's turn to page 9 in our prayer books and recite this prayer together. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. And we turn now to page 12 for Lachuna Ranana.
Lechon Ranana Ladonai Naharia Litzor Yishenu Lechon Ranana
page 20 in our Sidurim for Lachadodi. We welcome the Sabbath bride, singing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And on that final verse, we rise and turn to the entrance of our Beit Chana to welcome the Sabbath bride.
Page 20.
Lechadoti likrat kala yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lechadoti likrat kala yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabela.
Shamor v'zachor b'dibor hachad ish miyanu ha'miuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad v'shemo tiferet v'litila
Lechadoti likrat kala yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lechadoti likrat kala yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabela.
לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נצלחה סוף מעשה בתחילה
Lechadoti likrat kala yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lechadoti likrat kala yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Verse 5.
התעוררי, התעוררי, ובעורק אורי, אורי, together, אורי, אורי, שתדברי, כבוד אדוני עלי נגלה.
Lechadoti likrat kala yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lechadoti likrat kala yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Boi v'shalom Ateret bala Gam besimcha uvetzola Toch ebuneh Am segula Boi chala Boi chala Lechadoti likrat kala yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lechadoti likrat kala yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lechadoti likrat kala yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lechadoti likrat kala yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nikabela.
We remain standing for the call to worship on page 28.
Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla
remain standing and pray together on page 29. There is one who sings the song of his own life, finding everything within himself. There is one who leaves the circle of herself and sings the song of her people. There is one whose voice rings with the song of humanity, hoping for the highest perfection. And there is one who rises even higher, uniting with all creatures, with all worlds, filling the universe with song. Nivarech.
Let us
And
bless.
as we turn to pages 34 and 35 for the words of Shema, we're reminded of that oneness that connects all of us to God and to each other, that the invisible lines connecting us to each of God's creatures and to each other is God. And so we sing of that oneness with the words of Shema.
Shema Yisrael,
Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'udecha ve'hayu hadevarim ha'ele asher anohi metzavecha hayom al levavecha ve'shinantam levanecha V'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'vetecha, uv'lechtecha v'derech, uv'shokbecha, uv'kumecha, u'kshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha, u'ktavtam al mezuzot b'decha, Uvisharecha leman tiskeru ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yem nechim le'Elohehem ani Adonai Elohehem asher ha'hoseiti etem me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot lahem levohim ani Adonai Elohehem.
Mazel tov, Chloe, and to all the Zuckermans. I know that your parents have been looking forward to this day. Chloe, where are you? Since you were born 13 years ago. So mazel tov to all of you, and you're going to rock it tomorrow afternoon, I know. We're going to continue with our prayers on page 39 as we prepare for the Michamocha, for our song of freedom. We share this responsive reading together. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Mi Chamocha, our inspirational song of freedom, page 40.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, Dora tehilot oseh
prayers continue on page 42 with the words of Hashkivenu, where we pray for a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace. In particular, on this Shabbat, we think about all of those refugees, all of those left at our border, all of those who are homeless, yearning for that shelter of peace. The central prayers of our worship service on page 46 and the following pages. In just a moment, we will rise. But before we do, I invite you to reflect on these words at the top of page 47. Pray as if everything depended on God, but act as if everything depended on you. This Shabbat, we are all dreamers, and we are all dreamers who act and create the world we want to live in. So I'll invite you to please rise. And at the end of the prayers that Cantor Siegel leads, you're welcome to continue the prayers of your heart or the prayers in the book. And when you're done, please be seated.
Adonai, sifatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'Koneh Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot Ve'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'Ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh ha'kol atarav lahoshia. Mashiv haruach umorid haga Hashem, Mechalkel l'chaim bechesed, Mechayeh ha'kol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishenei afar, michamocha bal gevurot, umido melach, melech meimid, umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'nemanat al hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. When one of us is suffering, we all feel pain. When one of us is stumbling, we fall again and again. All of us are slaves until all of us are free. Everyone needs sanctuary. When some of us go hungry, all of us can't eat. When words don't mean enough to us, we pray with our feet. We pray for the dreamers who pray for you and me. We can be their sanctuary. So let us set a table wide and long, and everyone belongs, where everyone agrees to disagree. Underneath this canopy, I will be your shelter, open on all sides. I will take you in and stand by your side, no matter where you come from or where you'd rather be. I will be your sanctuary, where everyone agrees to disagree. Underneath this canopy, so stand up and sing, let your voices ring. Bring what you can bring and be a sanctuary. So
Shabbat Shalom.
When I and Rabbi Pomerantz and Kenner Siegel and a dozen Temple Beth Shalom members attended the consultation on conscience in Washington, D.C. last spring, we heard Elias Rosenfeld speak on a panel of high school and college students doing amazing work across our movement for social justice, particularly in immigration reform and gun violence prevention. As immigration reform leading into civic engagement is this year's social justice focus for our Temple Beth Shalom community, Elias was our first choice speaker for tonight, the Shabbat of Mitzvah Day weekend. We're so lucky he said yes. In this week's Torah portion, Mishpatim, in the book of Exodus, we receive a rich assortment of laws, judgments, and statutes governing every facet of human existence. About treating the stranger fairly and compassionately, there are two separate paragraphs in this week's Torah portion. The first reads, "Thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt." And then in the very next chapter, "And thou shalt not oppress a stranger, for you know the heart of a stranger, seeing you were strangers in the land of Egypt." These commandments emphasize that we are to protect both the stranger's feelings as well as physical body. Commenting on why the experience in Egypt is mentioned in both commandments about the stranger, Ramban teaches, "You may think the stranger is so often oppressed because he has no one to save him from your hand. But in reality, he will be helped more than any man." In other words, just as God delivered us from Egypt, and it is up to us to do God's work and renew that deliverance in every generation. But today, our country is both vexing and oppressing immigrants and refugees, even those who grew up in this country. Elias Rosenfeld's experience as a dreamer in the U.S. will remind us that in the Jewish community, the modern-day immigrant and refugee is not, in fact, an other or a stranger at all, but rather our friends, our neighbors, an integral part of our own Jewish community. Elias Rosenfeld is a student, dreamer, and activist who's been working with immigration rights with groups such as Moms Rising, Firm, Mira, the Religious Action Center, and Forward.us. Despite facing some incredible obstacles, which you'll hear about, Rosenfeld has persevered and earned numerous awards, as well as a full ride to Brandeis University. Today, Rosenfeld is focused on building his coalition, Values Above Politics, which aims to support candidates who put their values ahead of partisanship, and is a tireless advocate for immigration reform. Thank you so much for being here tonight, Elias Rosenfeld. That's on.
Can everyone hear me? Good evening, everyone. My name is Elias Rosenfeld, and I'm a senior student at Brandeis University, a DACA recipient, and an immigration advocate. First off, I just wanted to share my immense gratitude for, first of all, inviting me here today, but also for the critical advocacy all of you are doing to improve the lives of immigrants. I came to the United States from Caracas, Venezuela at the age of 6 with my mother and my sister. My mother made this brave choice as a result of deepening insecurity in a city riddled of violence with daily anti-Semitic assaults ranging from vandalizing Jewish synagogues with swastikas to the kidnapping of dozens of our fellow Jews after Shabbat services. When I was moved to the United States, I immediately fell in love with this nation and excelled quickly, learning English in 4 months and receiving honor roll the year after. Quickly, the 12-year-old boy from Caracas was tutoring fellow American peers on classes relating to civics and historical topics like the US Constitution and the Civil War. Growing up, my grandfather, who still lived in Venezuela and served as my father figure, had already instilled in me the historical empathy of Judaism in terms of migration, having himself moved from Morocco to Caracas at the age of 11, fleeing the Nazi regime. However, on October 25th of 2009, my life radically changed, and to this day, my nation still punishes me unfairly for it. My beloved mother, Annabella, had tragically passed away from kidney cancer when I was only 12 years old. I still remember to this day praying to God in the hospital bathroom that I would donate all of my upcoming bar mitzvah money to charity if he could only let my mom live. Sadly, she passed away that day, and I also became undocumented for one reason only, because our nation's broken immigration system has no mechanism in place for when a parent, like my mother, passes away. However, I only discovered of my status in 8th grade when I was dehumanized at a DMV office, as I found out I was unable to receive the mere ability to drive because of a legal status I did not know I had. I refuse, and still refuse to this day, to let my mother's labor go to waste, and I instantly thrusted myself into nationwide and statewide immigration advocacy. That advocacy, along with thousands of others, led to the creation of the DACA program in 2012 by President Obama, which allowed me the ability to work and drive in the country I call home. Since then, I have founded nonprofits, helped pass statewide laws in Florida, worked in offices of U.S. senators, and received a full ride at Brandeis, where I am today. On September 25th of 2017, all that hard work and my life were put at risk, as the president, Jeff Sessions, and Stephen Miller rescinded the DACA program for 800,000 dreamers like myself and hundreds of undocumented Jews who reside in many of your communities. My life was thrusted into daily fear, ranging from waking up every morning and searching immigration on Google in case an emergency happened overnight while I was sleeping, hiding in my apartment on days that this administration has organized raids against immigrant communities, and the daily nightmares of ICE detaining me or my sister. However, our crucial advocacy in the courts have succeeded, and DACA remains alive solely for that reason. But as always, the personal always becomes the political. At the height of failed Senate DACA negotiations, I received the news that my grandfather, the man that instilled Jewish values in life to me, had unexpectedly passed away in Venezuela. Because of the rescindment of the program, I was unable to see him at the hospital and was forced to watch his funeral through a video on my phone. Today, DACA recipients' lives are even more at risk as the Supreme Court has taken on the issue this term and already heard oral arguments in November. There is still time to create fundamental change by urging the Senate to pass the Dream and Promise Act, which already has passed in the House with a bipartisan vote. We should all be angered by this inaction, especially because it is a policy that is supported by 83% of Americans. Overall, my life has been defined by adversity and resilience. Inaction by our allies and my fellow Jews is an obstacle to this hard work. If there has ever been a time to use your privilege, your resources, your advocacy, and your agency against cruel acts of injustice, it is now and today. Thank you. And I could take a couple of questions now, but I'll also be waiting at the end if there's any more questions. Yes. So my sister and I pretty much raised ourselves. We went to Dr. Michael Kropp Senior High, and thank God we had the privilege of being supported by a lot of the faculty there. But it was sort of a friendship and school effort of parents of my friends doing some of the stuff that my parents would have been doing, and some of the people at Kropp and in the school doing what my parents would also have been doing. Thank you. Any other questions? So that is uncertain because it all depends on how the Supreme Court rules this summer. Based on that, I will know whether I have 2 more years to work and live legally, or if I would be unable to even use my degree to apply for a job. So not only my life is in balance, but 800,000 others. And if the Supreme Court rescinds the DACA program, we'll be seeing 1,600 people like myself losing their status and work authorization every single day for 2 years. Yes? So there's two main things that we're urging people to do right now. One is to call your senators. All of you live in Florida, and we have two Republican senators, Marco Rubio and Rick Scott, who have not yet pledged their support for the Dream and Promise Act, despite their claims that they support DACA recipients. So one thing would be to call them on Monday and urge them to put this bill on the floor for a vote, because it's passed the House already with a bipartisan vote. The second thing you can do is, right now we're encouraging all DACA recipients to renew their DACA program in case the worst happens and the Supreme Court rescinds the program. However, there is a $500 application fee, so we're also raising money for DACA renewals for students or DACA recipients that cannot afford it. So if you have any financial ability to donate to these DACA renewal funds, that is a great way to do so, and I can connect Rabbi Bear with that information as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Elias. And as he said, he'll be here for a little while after the service if you have follow-up questions. So returning to our service, now I just want to think about this for the next hour, but we are in the middle of a service. So we'll turn to our pamphlets, and we turn our thoughts and our hearts towards those in need of healing in our community, whether healing of the body or the mind or the spirit. And so please read the names here that are listed in the program, and if you have other names of people you're praying for this Shabbat, please share them with the community. With all of their names in our hearts, we turn to the Mishaberach prayer for healing, page 253.
Mishaberach avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mikor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
And now we are excited for Mitzvah Day coming this Sunday, and to celebrate this moment and Mitzvah Day arriving, I'd like to invite a Shehechianu moment. So if you are one of the co-captains of Mitzvah Day co-chairs of Mitzvah Day this year, please stand up. Allison Greenfield and Lori Spodak, thank you so much for your tireless work, as well as our social justice fellow, Rachel Lillenbaum. And if you are, you can stand up too, and if you are a captain of a project this year, please stand up. If you are captaining a project, leading community service group on Sunday, please rise. And if you are participating in any one of these projects, please rise as well. And if you are, mostly. And if you are moved to advocate for immigration reform and sense the power of this moment to act, please rise as well. And now I hope we all will be rising as we say the Shehechianu prayer together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman
We remain standing, page 282 for Elenu. And if you are B'nai Mitzvah age or younger, please come up to open the ark.
And we
Oh, no, the whole family? The Zuckerman family. Come on.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'ateit gedula l'yotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyeh ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gahor aleinu kechol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום
Good job. Mazel
seated.
tov. Mazel tov. Shabbat shalom.
We take a few moments now to remember all those who came before us, those who may have died in years past at this season, those who may have died in recent days. As a congregation, we remember the more than 6 million men, women, and children who were murdered in the Shoah. Remember those who perished in the name of liberty, freedom, justice, and righteousness. Remember those who died making sure that our homeland Israel exists for us and for Jews everywhere. We remember all the innocent victims of hatred, ignorance, terrorism, and natural disasters. On this Shabbat, we remember friends and family whose yortzites are being observed and whose names have lovingly been inscribed on plaques, which are in our alcove of remembrance. We remember Gustav S. Altman, Lenore Amster, Charlotte Cohen Chester, Aaron Cohen, Jenny G. Goldberg, May Oleski Golem, Merle Mickey Granoff, Isidore C. Greenberg, Esther L. Hecht, Adolph Kahn, Maurice Cronish, Alexander Cushman, Helene Owen, Evelyn Parness, Manuel Riskin, Esther Selwich Shapiro, Dorothy Zell, and Shoel Zinneman. We remember as well friends and family whose yortsites are being observed at this time. We remember Shirley Holmes Aronson, Patricia Citron, Edna DeVore, Emil Feldman, Alan Greenfield, Esther Klein, Lola Joan Kramer, Solomon Lanster, Lee Lerner, Morris Liederman, Mordechai Lugener, Adela Meisner, Arthur Nemzer, Jack Pecor, Ida Livingston Pemstein, Paula Rabinowitz, Simeon Ross, Marshall Ruff, Irvin Salisbury, Shirley Spar, Louis Sekonic, Alice Vinnick, Marjorie Warren, Edna Weil, Eve Weinroth, Bernard Max Weiss, Bluma Weissman, and Alex Yar. And we remember as well those who've died in recent days and their families remain in the Shloshim of mourning in the 30-day period of mourning. We remember Maurice Cornelissen, Sue Rose Samuels, Lois Hildebrandt, Andrea Pollack, Lila Rosthal, Maurice Glazier, Elliot Grossman, Sonia Manis, Erwin Raffel, Julie Burns, and Bill Jean Smith. If there's a name that I haven't mentioned, you're in a period of mourning, you're saying Kaddish, you have Yortzeit, I'll ask you to please rise and mention those names, and please remain standing as we're going to join together for Kaddish in just a moment. Thank you. Thank you. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may the memory of all the righteous, yes? Thank you. May the memory of all the righteous be a blessing as we recite with one voice words of Kaddish, page 294. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabbah v'yalma divrach v'rutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chaye echon v'yom echon uvchaye d'chol beit Yisrael ba'galav v'zman kariv yimru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei
Rabbah mevorach le'olam olamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudshah v'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran v'yalma v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'yimru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'yimru. Amen.
May the source of peace grant peace to all of you who mourn, comfort all of you who are bereaved, and send healing to all of you who are saddened, as together we say,
Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. It's my pleasure to invite up Michael Dribbin, past president of the congregation, to share greetings on behalf of the board and on behalf of the congregation.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
What a wonderful turnout. It's wonderful to see all of you. Mazel tov to Chloe and her parents and her entire family, not only for tonight, but for how well I know she'll do tomorrow. And the Oneg tonight, the Oneg Shabbat, is sponsored by Dana and Peter Zuckerman in honor of Chloe's bat mitzvah. In our Shabbat Shinavash, brochures are all sorts of announcements. It's a little bit difficult to figure out which ones to highlight because they're all so interesting and so varied and so important. Oh, by the way, I meant to also thank Elias for being here, for telling us your story, and for your call to action. Thank you. Of course, as we all know by now, Mitzvah Day is Sunday. There's still opportunity to come here Sunday morning at 8:30 and sign up for the whole variety of projects that bring us out into the community. Rabbi Bear is nodding his head eagerly, and we look forward to a wonderful day on Sunday. On Monday, this coming Monday, in honor of or in recognition of February being Jewish Disability Awareness and Inclusion Month, there's a screening of the movie The Peanut Butter Falcon here at the Temple any questions about that, you can ask Mark Baranek. Covenant meditation. I'm a lawyer. I'm a lawyer, so I have certain words. Covenant meditation on Tuesday, February 25th. Karen Revo is trying to get my attention about that. Oh, I won't forget. I haven't forgotten. Then on Thursday is Brotherhood Top Golf event. It's a fun event at 7 o'clock out there. Very important Shabbat next Friday. Cantor Siegel is nodding her head. We will be honored to have Alana Arian here, a wonderful song leader and singer and inspiration to our movement in her music. And so we hope we'll have at least as large a turnout, if not larger, next Friday night. A discussion on March 3rd about the results of the Israeli elections. And then I do want to remind you, some of us are wearing these buttons that indicated that we voted in the World Zionist Congress election, and we voted for the Reform Movement slate. As much as we love Israel, as much as we support Israel, our voice, the voice of the Reform Movement, is rarely heard in Israel. One of the few opportunities we have to enhance that, to get a better voice, is through these elections of the World Zionist Congress, which occur every 5 years. The Reform Movement has a slate up. You are encouraged to go online. Craig Burko, we have a table set up in the Welcome Center, will help you if you need help getting to the location on your phones to make it, or take the information home with you. I think we have until March 20th, is it? March 11th, I'm sorry, to vote in that. And I think if we're successful with the Reform slate, Rabbi Pomerantz will be one of the delegates to that Congress. So I urge you to do that. In addition, Rabbi Davis has asked me to remind you, and again, it's in your materials, that PAC needs our help to reach a goal of 100 attendees from Temple Beth Shalom at the Nehemiah Action Meeting on March 16th, and information is available in the Welcome Center when you go out for the Oneg on that. And just one final word. 25 years ago, at the first Mitzvah Day, I had the honor of being the president of this great congregation, but none of the credit goes to me. It all goes to Rabbi Pomerantz for having the idea, implementing it, and seeing what it is as it's grown over these 25 years. If I did anything that was smart, it was to get out of her way and do exactly what she told me to do. And so I'll take credit for that. Adam, you can learn a thing or two about that. With that, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom. Excellent.
Okay, so our closing song,
Yes.
in line with our theme of Mitzvah Day and dreaming and everything else. Elias, come on up, Elias. It's your big solo moment. Did you know about this?
No worries.
Okay, the words in your program, build this world together. We hope you can sing along. There's this whole thing where you echo, we're gonna build this world together. Build this world together. And then it's, we're gonna build this world together.
We're gonna build this world together.
And the chorus is, we hear the sound of hope, the sound of peace. It's a new day for a new generation, a new time, no beginning, no end. We're gonna build this world to. You got it. Let's start.
We got
Go.
it.
Here we go. We hear the sound of peace, but it's different this time. We're gonna build this world together. It's the eternal cry of humankind. We're gonna build this world together. We hear the sound of hope, the sound of peace. It's a new day for a new generation, a new time, no beginning, no end.
seriously. She's gonna be on Facebook.
Thank you. It was fun. Thank you so much.
I hope people call. I hope people make phone calls.
Somebody took my book, whatever it is. You're welcome. Thank you.